This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Friday, December the 17th, part of a stakes-laden card at Remington Park on Friday. Here's the field for the Springboard Mile, carded as race number 12. 2-year-olds, $400,000 is the purse. And Mike, this race is often a springboard to some of the Kentucky Derby preps early in the year at Oaklawn Park.
Yeah, it's usually a pretty good field. I don't think this year's running is any real exception, Dan. There are some interesting horses in here. I mean, obviously, these are 2-year-olds that still have a lot to prove, but there could be some talent in here.
You could download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us, and you can play the card with DRF Bets. Let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector. Several of these 2-year-olds are fast. Several are stretching out in distance, including the number 1 Concept, one of 2 in here for Steve Asmussen. As a matter of fact, the pace projector has the 2 Asmussen horses 1-2 after the first half mile.
Yeah, and they both have speed. I won't be surprised if it plays out that way. We'll see how fast they wind up going, Dan. I suppose it could be a fast pace. It seems unlikely that the 1 and the 5 are going to go after each other early. So we'll see what happens.
Concept is another one of those running gun runners. What a first crop for the young stallion gun runner. This one popped a 91 Beyer speed figure at Remington 2 starts back sprinting. What did you make of his last race, Mike? The clever Trevor, he rated a little bit, mid-moved into a fast pace and tired.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a great performance. I don't think it's a terrible performance either, even though he did lose as a 6-5 favorite. I mean, I liked the position they got with him early in the race. They didn't go for the lead that day. They sort of sat out there up close to the pace 3 wide. You're right, though, Dan. He did go with the first run. He went, ahead of the winner of that race, who also took a lot of money in there and just, tried to take over on the turn. He had to fight a little bit there, and he just got a little tired in the stretch. I thought all in all, he ran fine. His race 2 back was obviously a very good performance. And even though the number, the 91, sort of seems out of whack when you compare it to his other 3 starts, the runner-up from that race, the Hano Twist, has basically come back and confirmed that number.
Recent bullet workout over the course for Concept. How do you feel about his distance pedigree? Obviously, the gun runners, they should be able to get a mile at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the gun runners do go on. You feel like they're supposed to. On the dam side, he's got plenty of pedigree to stretch out. His dam only won twice. They were both sprints, but she's a sister to Evening Jewel, multiple grade 1 winner routing.
So far, the number 2, Make It Big, has confirmed the favoritism in both starts. He was hammered in both races for Safi Joseph, going 7 furlongs at Gulfstream. He won easily both times, including this race, a stake-bred stake at Gulfstream on October the 30th. And what I liked about this race, Mike, is whereas in his debut, Make It Big was able to get to the front and take them all the way, here he was able to pass some horses in the stretch. This is a good experience builder for him.
Yeah, I like this one better than his debut as well. He didn't break great from the gate. First of all, he wound up last early, but I just like the way that he settled towards the inside. I like the way he finished that race off as well. Still, it never ceases to amaze me when I watch these races back from Gulfstream. Nobody looks good to me winning there. I'm not impressed with this horse visually, but he certainly has some talent.
Number 3 is Bye Bye Bobby. This is a son of Quality Road. He sold for $870,000 as a yearling, and he made his debut at Zia Park. Now, in a stakes race, and he got the job done. Here's Bye Bye Bobby waving bye-bye to this field, coming from well off of a fast pace. And it was a fast pace up front, as you can see from those fractions. Bye Bye Bobby is just going to run these horses down. Solid enough 68 Beyer speed figure, Mike. It's easy to look at Zia and say, boy, he's taking a big step up, but this horse, someone liked him at some point.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, they did pay a lot of money for him. I don't know what to make of this race, though, Dan. It was a really fast pace. He was outrun early. You saw there in the stretch, he still had some work to do, and he really didn't have that much trouble closing the race down. It just felt like everybody was so tired in the stretch, while this horse still had plenty left. Won't be surprised if he takes a step forward here, but I feel like he really does have to take a step forward.
Our first 3 entrants have all won at sprint distances. The 4 Shemaim, 2 starts back, scored over course and distance at Remington Park over a wet track. First time against winners, however, it looked like he got the right pace set up. He was just no match for that runaway winner, and this is a tougher field.
Yeah, I mean, the win first time they stretched him out was fine. He had a decent setup that day too and rallied, and maybe this race will set up, really well for him. I just didn't like his last race enough to take a shot with him.
Third start, third different jockey for the 5 Classic moment will be piloted by Kentucky Derby winning rider Stuart Elliott in the Springboard Mile. This horse ran okay last time out at Churchill Downs, Mike. I know the pace wasn't very fast. He got a pretty good trip sitting up close, but he was game to win, and the third place finisher came back to run a good second with a 79 Beyer speed figure. Lasix on for Asmussen. I'm expecting a good performance.
Yeah, me too. I like both of his races. I think he's going to go with speed in this race as they stretch him out for the first time. And then we'll see what happens. I don't have any real knocks, even on either of his races. Even the loss first time out, I thought he ran well that day. Good performance last time, Dan. He did have a good trip, but he hooked up with that runner-up through the stretch of that race. Always held that horse off. They were well clear of the rest of that field. I thought he ran really well. It'll be interesting to see. We talked about Gun Runner a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if the classic umpires wind up stretching out. So far, they have not been that effective going long.
We've got the prince of the Oklahoma-bred 2-year-olds up next. The 6 Rowdy Rascal has won 3 consecutive starts, including 2 stakes races against state-bred competition. Here's his most recent effort going the mile. He had to prove that he would successfully stretch out, and I thought this was a really likable effort, Mike. He's in control of this now in mid-stretch, and he just goes about his business. It's a very professional 2-year-old who's now going to get the acid test from a class standpoint against open horses.
Yeah, it's definitely a tougher race for him. I might have slept on this horse a little bit though, Dan. Didn't really want to knock him. He's won 3 in a row. I thought he ran well in all of those races. He handled the mile and that race right there, and he handled it very well. So you feel like that's not going to bother him, and he can sit off the pace a little bit too. So things to like about this horse, who probably will be a fair price. I didn't have him in there, but maybe I should have put him a little bit higher in my picks.
I wonder if trainer Eric Reed got a good bargain for $30,000 with the number 7 Rich Strike. And I'm not just saying that because that day he won by 17 at Churchill Downs going a 1-turn mile. This horse is bred to run all day long. He's by Travers winner Keen Ice. The dam won the Woodbine Oaks when it was on the old Woodbine dirt surface. She was 3rd in the Queen's Plate. So he ran okay in his first start against winners as well. Let's watch that race at Keeneland. Doesn't have much speed, this horse, but he does come with a little bit of a late run. And the runner-up in this race would come back to hit the board with the 66 Beyer. I'm curious to see how this one does going a little bit longer down the road. This might be a little bit too much too soon.
Maybe, yeah, the distance feels like it might just really be a good thing for him going forward. So we'll see what happens. I just didn't love this race, Dan. I mean, he did get wired in there by a big long shot. That horse that won that race came back. They tried him in 2 tougher races, and he was absolutely nowhere. I just don't know how good that race was, but this horse might be a fair price.
I like Reveneer getting back out to a 2-turn dirt race. They ran him in the Clever Trevor, turning him back to 7/8 last time out. He ran fine. Let's watch Reveneer's effort right now. He was a big price coming off a slow maiden win around 2 turns, and he really improved in this race to finish second. The 7th place finisher was the horse that came back and dominated Shamayim's non-winners of 2 Life by 8 lengths. He was staying on at the end. I think the extra furlong is going to help him, but he's another one facing a tough field.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he does. He ran fine in this race. He was only second best. I just didn't really feel like he did that much running, Dan. I mean, it was the kind of race you saw the concept was in that race. You saw him getting very tired through this stretch. And this horse to me was just picking up pieces, and he wasn't really finishing that hard. I did like his maiden win 2 starts back, and that was a 2-turn mile. I thought that was a weak field. I thought he ran well that day.
Osborne's a very interesting horse. He was entered in the Wanamaker's online auction, and he failed to meet his reserve as a yearling, and he's certainly outrun that so far. A good second in his debut behind a horse that came back to win a stakes race. And then last time out, he had a very nice trip as the odds-on favorite. He prompted a big long shot, but once he took over the lead, he went about his business. He's now paired up 78 Beyer tops. I believe he has the pedigree to stretch out. I like the incremental stretch out in distance from Ron Moquette. Got to overcome this outside post.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get a trip from out there. He'll probably go forward, though. I'd be surprised if he got some kind of terrible trip and that beat him, Dan. His first 2 races are good. I wanted to go in a different direction and not take him just because I felt like he might take some money in here, but he's definitely a major player in this race.
It's really going to be interesting to see how they bet this race. We'll take a look at our top selections for this field. Mike's going with Concept 5-1 on the morning line, and he's going for an Asmussen Exacta 1-5. Osborne 6-1 on the morning line for Leparoux and Moquette. I'm curious to see if he can use that tactical speed, because the three horses directly inside of him don't have a ton of gas. Maybe he can just break out of there and settle into a nice 3-wide stalking spot. 1-5-9-8 for Mike, 9-5-2-1 for me. It's the Springboard Mile, Friday's DRF race of the day. Good luck.